Kia ora tātou, it's Aroha Priest here from Spearhead Media. I'd like to introduce you today to Mike Tana.
Kia ora.
Tēnā koe, Mike.
Tēnā koe.
Oh, tell us where you're from, Mike, and what Waitangi celebrations means to you and why.
Yeah, ko Mike Tana taku ingoa. I am Turia Hau nā te whātua, so I come from very close to here. This is my home. We talk about this government talking untruths and saying things that are just totally anti-Māori. I believe that this is the reason for it, is to bring Māori together, unite them together, talking about who we are under the Te Tiriti, Mana Motuhake, and guess what? It's going out to the whole of New Zealand, and anyone who has a point of view on Te Tiriti that is incorrect, they're going to be found out this year, including the government.
So in regards to unity, how do you feel about this unity movement that the King has started and why?
Any movement needs people, and as I said, I just think that whoever, whether it was David Seymour, whether it was Winston, whether it was Shane who's speaking now, when they started saying those things, Nicola Willis, Māori took notice, and I think that's almost like worked against the government because it's a rally cry to Māori, and when Kingi Tuheitia says what he said, that gave us that point to come together, and now we've had all these different hui culminating here at Waitangi where Māori are consolidating as one.
I'm from Waimea. My tribe is Kotingarangi. Waimea is central North Island, around Waimiha. Anyway, yeah.
And what do Waitangi celebrations mean to you and why?
Well, it's significant because, to be honest, it's my first time here in like 45 years. I was only a young fellow when I came up here, but hearing all the kōrero that's been going around the motu around the country, I've had this, I suppose, inspired by the call of the king, because I've been brought up in the kingitanga.
Right. Wow.
My dad's from Mangamuka, but yeah, I thought it was just great, the passion and that, and so I come up here along with the whānau from my tribe, from Maniapoto, Reriahu and Waikato Tainu, in support of the call of the karanga of the kingitanga, of the king.
Well, that's my next question, Matua. How do you feel about this unity movement that the Māori King has started and why?
I think it's a long time coming.
Right.
It's a long time coming because it should have been. This movement should have been done a long time ago,
right,
when all our tupuna that signed the treaty, yes, throughout the motu. Because it's been a call for, it says kotahitanga when the treaty was signed.
That's right.
And yet there hasn't been. There's been a division.
Yes.
Been a division between Māori and the Crown.
Yes.
Because that was the signing was between those two. No one else.
That's right.
And it's been like that for mai rā anō since the signing was done.
That's right.
Nearly 180 years ago.
So what do you make of all these recent discussions around the Treaty of Waitangi then, and why? How do you feel about that?
I feel angry,
right,
because apart from the 1975, when the introduction of the Waitangi Tribunal, and that was done in the protection of the treaty, it has not been, nothing's been done to it for a long time, since, and I believe it should just be left alone as it is, and be endorsed by this government and by future governments as the founding document, right, of the Constitution of New Zealand.
With me today, Carla Hayes. Tēnā koe whānau.
Kia ora.
Tell us where you're from and why, what Waitangi celebrations means to you today, Carla.
So I'm from Kaio, which is about 40 minutes north of here. It's where I grew up. And for the last 10 odd years I've been down in Whangarei. As a kid we used to come to Waitangi Day. Now I've been with my partner for the last 25 years, and so he comes over every year. His grandfather was one of the carvers of the Whare Runanga, and he's from Ngāti Hine, so they have quite a lot to do with this area, being Ngāti Hine, being managed by Ngāti Hine, the treaty grounds.
Right. And what do the celebrations mean to you, Whaia?
What do they mean? It's a day of having everybody together. It's seeing stalls, meeting people. Yeah, that's mainly what it means to me.
Awesome. And how do you feel about this unity movement from the Māori King, and why? It's going to be interesting. I don't really have an opinion because I haven't seen enough of it. But yeah, I agree with the unity that he's trying to do. I was here yesterday afternoon when they came in their pōwhiri. Yes.
Which, was very powerful.
I have with me today Pōtaua Biasine Tule. Tēnā koe. Tēnā koe. Tell us where you are from, Matua, and what Waitangi celebrations means to you today.
Kia ora. Ko Pōtaua Biasine Tule ahau. Koe ahau Aotearoa.
Right.
But today I'm up here for mahi with Ipurangi Aotearoa.
Wow.
Internet New Zealand.
Yes.
And what we do is we look after the geeky things of Aotearoa, like domain names and governance. But we want to know, as the keyboard warriors, how we can help Aotearoa. We want to know how the internet can be inclusive of Māori, of te reo Māori and mana Māori.
And how do you feel about the Waitangi celebrations today?
I loved it up until those idiots started speaking.
Yeah.
I get already. I come up here, it's a beautiful day.
Yes.
Beautiful people. And some schmucks go up and get up on the mic and talk some cacks. But what we've got to do is just maintain, kia mau. We've got to hold our dignity, but also just share the kōrero.
I have with me today Whaia Lisa, and tēnā koe Whaia.
Kia ora.
I would love to know, where are you from, Whaia, and what Waitangi celebrations mean to you today?
I'm from Whakataone, and at the moment I'm in Te Poi. Yeah. I'm from a lot of places actually.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And what do Waitangi celebrations mean to you today, Whaia?
Well, I actually come to watch the show.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't really have any intention but to be a witness to whatever's going to happen today.
Right.
And tomorrow.
Yes. Awesome.
And the next day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this unity movement that the Māori King has started, and why?
Oh, has he started a movement online? I wouldn't have a clue.
That's okay.
I don't have a TV. I
That's
don't
okay.
watch all that drama. I've got enough drama on my own.
I have today Whaia Maiporo Paratene. Tēnā koe, Whaia.
Kia ora e hoa.
Please tell us, Whaia, where you're from and what Waitangi celebrations mean to you today.
Right. So, kia ora, koutou katoa. I am from a little town further up north called Kaio. And the Waitangi celebrations today means a lot to me as Māori. Right. And it's very, very important this year because of what's happened with the government.
Right.
And I feel that us as a people, we need to stick together, stand together to carry on our rights for the tiriti of Waitangi, for our people.
Right. Okay. How do you feel about this unity movement that the Māori King has started, and why?
Oh, ka pai, ka pai. Having the first hui at Ngarawahia, Tūranga Waiwai with King Tuheitia. He is our king. Ngāpuhi, back in the day, they said that, he was not our king because we have our own king. And so I grew up thinking like that, you know, that, oh, he's not my king, blah, blah, blah. But then I met the Queen one year, and she was absolutely beautiful. So my views as a Māori wahine, I only have one king who is my king, and that is King Tuheitia.
Kei te pai whai. What do you make of all the recent discussions surrounding the Treaty of Waitangi and why?
Oh, e teko, you know, Luxton and Seymour.
Aye.
Oh, teko, tūpero, pero. You know, what they're saying about what they want to do with our tiriti. This is a signed document between our chiefs of our time and the Crown. Honour the treaty. We are the people of this country, Aotearoa, and honour and respect what they had done back then for us people and for our mokopuna, our tamariki.
I have today Whaia Charlene. Mai, tēnā koe whaia.
Kia ora.
Tell us where you are from and what Waitangi celebrations means to you today.
Well, I'm from everywhere,
Yeah.
but I'm from here,
Yeah.
Te Uri Taniwha, as well as Manawatu, Rangitane, Ngāti Apa, as well as the East Coast, Ngāti Era, Whakatō here.
And how do you feel about the Waitangi celebrations today? Whaia?
Oh, it's a show,
Yeah.
and it's grand, but it's laughable, but it's also, how do you explain it? Well, there's a word for it, but like, it's not quite coming, but Waitangi for me is, it's meant to be a union, and maybe give it a bit more time and we'll get to that space.
Right.
Yeah, it needs more time.
It needs more time?
Yeah, to
Okay.
get back to the proper space it should have really been.
Okay. Okay. How do you feel about this unity movement that the Māori King has started and why?
Who's the Māori King? And unity, that's a bit of a mixture all in one sentence.
Okay.
Who is the actual king too? Because I don't recognise him as being
Kei te
that
pai.
for me. No, he is of wherever he's from.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's allowed. But in my opinion, no, I don't recognise him
Kei te pai.
as my heir.
Kei te pai.
Or
Kei
king.
te pai. What do you make of all the recent discussions surrounding the Treaty of Waitangi and why?
Oh, they're much needed.
Right?
Yeah, it's definitely a kōrero that's long overdue.
Yes.
Very long overdue and needs correcting, really correcting, because it's all about correcting records and going back to the source of how everything was created, because, there's too much middlemen and they're not going direct to the source of how it truly was formed or even wanting to go, because you go too far into anything and it brings out a lot of truth and a lot of contradictions on people's kōrero over the years and how they've explained it to be when it's not. So it's putting things into a good light and a bad light at the same time. Then it's doing the same with all us beings as well. Who said this? And then they're over here, oh, that's the wrong kōrero, but it's a well-known figure that said it. So, but it's all about correcting the records, really. But it's a kōrero that needed to happen, and it's way overdue. But then it can be put aside by something that it's hiding. So, or is it hiding? It just hasn't been talked about.
Aye.
So maybe that document needs to come out in the forefront instead of te tiriti.
Yeah.
Maybe we should be speaking on he whakaputanga. And that's a discussion that really needs to be had. So if we can bypass te tiriti, well, te tiriti exists, not the treaty, and go back to actually kōrero about he whakaputanga, that'll open up a lot of doors.
I would like to introduce you to Hone Tito. Tēnā koe, Hone.
Tēnā koe e te wangaunga.
You have a store here.
Yes,
How's
we do.
it going?
It's been very good. It's been good. It's been busy. Heaps of people from all over the motu coming.
Wow.
So it's good to see all the whānau supporting the bigger kaupapa here.
Awesome. Yeah. So, tell us where you are from and what Waitangi celebrations means to you.
Alrighty. So our whānau, our tito whānau, we come from Parihaka, from Taranaki. Uncle George Tito used to sit on the pai. And then once he passed on, our ngaunga Ruakere Hond took over the mantle down there. And my mother, she's from up this way. She's from Te Raroa, from Waiho Miti, from that area as well. And Waitangi, holy heka. There's a lot of wairua, a lot of mana, a lot of pauri, you know, a lot of sadness in the whole kaupapa for what happened way back, and our whānau are still fighting just to be able to stand and be who they are today. And that's over, 200, almost 200 years, give or take, and they're still fighting just to be who they are today. And it's hard to see our whānau, struggle like that, just to be recognised as tangata whenua, as the culture that that are here today, our Māori whānau, so yeah.
How do you feel about this unity movement that the Māori King started, and why?
It needed to happen. Yeah, it needed to happen. There was, even though our whānau, our politicians, some of our politician whānau may be standing on the other side of the fence, if you look at it from that point of view, this needed to happen because it needed to bring our people together as one. Throughout, our whānau have been fighting, like our different iwis have been fighting for their mana, for their whenua, and so forth, but this has actually brought our whole whānau iwi Māori together as one, and that's absolutely beautiful to see. So to see that and to feel that and have all our whānau come together to fight for one kaupapa, what Kingi Tana did was perfect. It needed to happen for our people.
I'd like to introduce you today to Wally Wakeling. Tēnā koe matua.
Tēnā koe.
Tell us where you're from and what Waitangi celebrations mean to you.
Where I'm from, I was born and bred in Henderson, Waitakere Hospital. I lived out there for 30 years and then moved to Waiuku, where I reside at the moment for the last 20 years. Yeah.
And what does Waitangi celebrations mean to you?
Celebrations of Waitangi is it's a cultural festival that bring a lot of nationalities together that can enjoy an occasion that was that dates back quite a long time ago in regards to the signing of a treaty between two nations. Yeah.
Awesome, and I can see you've got a Ngāpu cap on, so
yeah.
You've got Ngāpu background.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Awesome.
So like my grandmother, she didn't talk much about the Māori, like she was a Ngāpui. She got caned at school, etc., and that sort of thing for speaking te reo, and so although she had all the artefacts and things, she'd never delve into her background and let us know about it.
Right.
So it wasn't until her passing that we, went and came up north and found out all about it.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was. Yeah.
How do you feel about this unity movement that the Māori King has started, and why?
Well, the unity movement, so... Yeah, I know there's a bit of division between the Ngāpui and with the Tainui in regards to that. With the Ngāpui being the first to basically, there was a signing previous, and then there was a secondary one.
Yep.
So.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah. So ultimately there has to be unity, or like for many years Māori have been fighting amongst each other. My fifth great grandfather was a Ngāpuri chief that led missions down the east coast, and so there was a lot of division right back in that day. And now that we're in the 21st century, is it? Yes. 200 years later or more, there should be a collaboration of the tribes, maybe with a bit more of a controlled, like a committee as such, or along those lines.
Right.
You have your spokespersons from each tribe and all that sort of thing to make it collaborative, and then yeah.
Awesome. What do you make of all the recent discussions surrounding the Treaty of Waitangi, and why?
So personally, I haven't delved into a lot of the discussions. Actually. I know that, like with the new government, there's already been a lot of changes. With the taking away the cultural names and on the just taking away all the names off the like for the roadage system, or the the VINs, VETNZs and all that, or any sort of government department. They've elected to take the Māori names away from the...
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's, things that are put in place and then taken away just at the drop of a hat. Yeah, it's a bit of a kick in the arse.
Here I have Mr. Te Pauro Kawakawa. Tēnā koe, sir.
Kia ora.
Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what Waitangi celebrations means to you.
Oh, okay. My name's Te Pauro Kawakawa. I'm from Hurowhenua, called Muupoko Tuturu. Is where I'm from, my tribes, Ngāti Tamarangi, Ngāti Ao, also Te Aotearoa, Kahununu Rangitāne, and the southern tribes. So that's where I'm from. And what does the celebrations mean for me?
Yes.
Well, to be honest, Auntie, I'm not really celebrating, though it is a good time to come together as intended in Ngāhuru, which is around harvest, to come together in our collective capacity to maintain good peace and order within our nations, and to regulate trade, not just domestically but internationally. So as this isn't happening, though we're trying hard to make it happen, for me it's important to get together with the other māngai and rangatira around the country and other hapu to form these relationships and start working on the think tanks around infrastructure to work out what a parallel society will look like, as in terms of economy, trade, health, education, media and governance structure, things like that. Also arts, culture and wairoatanga. But otherwise I do love coming here, catching up with heaps of people and whānau I haven't seen for a long time. And yeah, it's been a long 4 days here, but beautiful.
Awesome. How do you feel about this unity movement that the Māori King has started, and why?
Okay, well, to be honest again, not a big fan. I'm a fan of kotahitanga. I'm not a fan of unity. There's division, you can never get unity when there's division. I'm into diversity because I believe diversity adds growth to culture, and you can have diversity and harmony. Harmony will exist. But I understand what they're trying to do with the kotahitanga, but it's potentially dangerous, because when we go kotahitanga under one umbrella, under one korowai, let's say one of the king, all they have to do now is take the king's head off and we all roll with it.
Wow.
So I'm into kotahitanga, coming together again, like I said, in my individual capacity for my hapu, to come here as a collective But to come under someone else's korowai, I think is very dangerous,
Okay.
and it's something maybe we shouldn't do.
Kia ora anō, it's Aroha Priest from Spearhead Media. I have Matua John Wanu here today with me. Tēnā koe, Matua.
That's right.
Tēnā koe. Tell us, Matua, where you are from and what Waitangi celebrations means to you today.
Okay, I'm from East Cape in the Te Taira Whiti area and Potikirua ki Waipu small boundary area. And I've come to Waitangi because I've been coming here for years and I'm on taumata in their whakamingia and got know all the old people and I've seen policies change and the whole dynamics of our partnership change. And so I know everything going on and so the old people need leadership and to lead the people as it was in the past.
Right.
The elders come first and not the young people telling the elders what to do. And so that's what I'm here for, to make sure that our new partnership is on the horizon, straight to Britain. I'm here for the British people, the white side in my skin, and the brown side from Tahiti, and these memorials here. The tupuna here, the memorials, and also Moe from East Island, the Tahiti side of the Pacific, and how we get on with politics and share, and everybody the same, and no one's higher than the other. And that's what I'm here for, to make that partnership work. But I'm not so much concerned with the politics here and the treaty because it changes too much, and I don't like that sort of change that's going on, where we have no control, and we need control back in our hands. And that's what I'm here for, to put the control back into the taumata of the country, and that's where it should be in the first place. We establish that with the Crown.
How do you feel about this kotahitanga unity movement that the Māori King has started, and why?
Well, that's one kotahitanga. We've got one kotahitanga down the East Coast, and Tama Te Maro, he had his little flag flying with the Confederation flag and Whakaputanga flag, the similar flags, and the kotahitanga of the King of Tainui is his kingship, and I've been with Ngāpuhi for a long time, and it didn't work with a king over Ngāpuhi, and it was hard to bring them together under the king there when they didn't have a king here. So they don't like another king ruling them when they have the flag to rule over everybody under the flag of New Zealand and the world. It's a dry land flag, and they're working on a sea flag. Different administration of admiralty law on the sea, and we have the admiralty law on the land, everywhere in the world, with that flag.
Wonderful. What do you make of all these recent discussions surrounding the Treaty of Waitangi, and why, Matua?
So I've been watching alternative news as right up face to face with camera on mobile, instead of listening to propaganda and politics and policies in the Parliament, is not what it is at some stage acceptable to Ngāpuhi and all our tribes, which have different views of policies they can't partake in, and they want to stick to their tikanga, which is what I am, and it doesn't work. Sometimes it does, but sometimes someone's taking more about the policy than others. And you can see that example yesterday when another tribe comes here and takahias over somebody else's mana. And I've seen it all, and that is not acceptable.
Here with D Harp Taiko, tēnā koe se.
Tēnā koe.
Tell us where you're from and what Waitangi celebrations means to you.
I come from a place called Whaingaroa on the west coast of Raglan by the sea. My native surname is Haunuku Paiko. My great-grandmother was born in 1891, buried back home. So I'm a born native of this whenua, Aotearoa. under the Manukau title. In terms of those titles, British deed titles, there's this. Referring to British deed titles, it's in terms of the British deed title, the Manukau title, Aotearoa Manukau.
And what do Waitangi celebrations mean to you?
For me, celebrations of Waitangi is celebrating the constitution and the jurisdiction, or jurisdiction or constitution that's being all equal to all natives to the 250 Commonwealth countries of the blueprint on His Majesty King William IV's contract. It's a live contract. So Waitangi is a celebration for me to be here to acknowledge Iho Mātua Kore first, and my grandparents, which is my tupuna, and my mother and my father, and my brothers and my sisters, and every other natives out there around the globe. So Waitangi is a place where we come together to come and look for a solution. So in terms of His Majesty's, we can go back to the native paramount King's Court bench. So I come here to celebrate history. In 2017, on the 6th of February, we opened up the native paramount King's Court bench, and we took the presentation through the taumata over here in Te Timarai with the chief by the name of Uncle Kingi Taurua. His mother's a hehe from that side of Te Ti. So in terms of the process, we had to go through a process to take these documents through the process to get it authenticated. Right. So it has to go through the process in terms of tikanga. So we acknowledgements to Papa Selwyn Clark, Herewini Karaka, the 28th Māori Battalion. He was the judge on our panel. Back in 2017, he was the judge on our panel, and just like to acknowledge him for that. So when he took the presentation into the taumata, it was to get it authenticated so we can bring it back on this side, native. On that side over there, that's the iwi Māori incorporations, which is really in the sense of a little crown. That's why the obelisk over there is called the Queen Victoria title. And that's the title in the whenua here on the Ngāti Rahiri, on that side. I'm referring to on that side. So when we got that done, it was already passed. Those documents that Papa John Wānoa from Mokonui to Rapanui, the documents was created with instruments. And the instruments is on those documents. So I'm here to celebrate the documents today with our home guard here. Acknowledgements going out to Gregory Cook, Admiral. I'd like to acknowledge him too, because I'm here to celebrate with our Kororarika side from Okiatu, where the bench started from, which is the Magistrate Court. So on that side is a time of event where the jurisdiction and the Constitution went into a sequence. So we have 1831 to 1834 with 13 paramount chiefs who decided to use His Majesty King William IV's instruments because it's the Constitution and the jurisdiction on the top of the Little Crown, which is down in Puneke and Whanganui Atara at the parliamentary there, Watson. So once we came out of the Timarai over there, we came over on this side and we opened up under the Pau Whenua, Mana Whenua here. We've done our native paramount King's Court bench on that side, and then it was all done on that side. It was we had an ā-Motu there, which is the Justice of the Peace. I'd like to acknowledge him too. That's Manehi Parapara, Mohini, and Uncle Bandi Watai from Ngāti Kuri from Te Huko Te Ikamare, and also Selwyn Clark once again from Aotearoa, Ngāti Kahu and Ngāpui. He was the oldest living back then of Te Rarawa, Ngāti Kahu and Ngāpui Nui Tonu, last of the 28th Māori Battalion, And I'm here to put that on the record to celebrate, to acknowledge him that he was the judge in terms of this native paramount King's Court bench. So Uncle Kingi Taurua supported John Wano, regardless whatever his family had disagreed with, because this paperwork and it was too much for them to comprehend, to try and get their homework around it. It was just too much. It's about 450 something pages. Even the first page is just mind-blowing straight there. There's about over 8 to 10 seals in there, and those seals are called instruments. So we use the instruments to celebrate today in terms of the incorporation over there. Now, to beat the incorporation, you need to play the incorporation. It has to go from a corporate back to a corporate. So we have a confederation flag, and it's a corporate flag, and it's the constitution and the jurisdiction of the land of New Zealand. That's a Dutch name that I'm referring to, and it's spelled N-U-Z-E-E-L-N-D, because the 4 Dutch kings conquered. Now, in 1694, King William IV created the banks and privatized it before the Rockefellers and the Rothschild banks. So the 1688 Bill of Rights and the 1689 Constitution was the Constitution of His Majesty from the House of Orange. On that side, to our partnership with Andy Devine and all the rest of the other natives over there born into the whenua. So just like to acknowledge that and put that on the record today. And I won't go any deeper, but all Navy personnel, Royal British Navy, they are obligated to the King's Court bench. Now, King William IV created all commercial contracts. They make laws, and laws they make contracts. This flag that I'm referring to, as the whakamininga whakaputanga, as they use it in their literacy terms, the flag is really called a court-martial law flag. When people break the sections and the acts to their contract that they've gone and signed. You see, when you put a signature to a document, you're now subjected and you're obligated to whatever you put your signature to. So, King William III, his constitution is higher than any government in this country, no disrespect, higher than the Governor General, because if you ask them where did they get their authority from, it's got to go back to the native paramount King's Court bench, where all of the jurisdiction and the constitution come from. So we're here today with Papa John Wano. I'd like to acknowledge him too. It's been a great journey for me. I started off as a musician, because music is my passion. And he needed a cameraman back in the day, like what this beautiful gentleman over here is doing. And I used to have a job like that once upon a time. This is how I ended up with all this knowledge. But it's a blessing that came into my life. And I'm not here to run down my tainu, because I'm tainui waka myself. I'm Ngāti Mahanga, Ngāti Tahinga, no tainui te waka. I'm not here to run down the kingitanga, but I'm just here to put this on the record, that the bigger crown dominates the small crown. E no reira. Adios amigos.
Should our laws be universal for everyone or based on race?
This fixes the problem. The native magistrate King's Bench Court brings unity right through the world under one policy of everyone's equal, and it's not showing in the Crown in Wellington, the little Crown I call it, and the big Crown, the British, that made the law in the first place, how they got on the land with the Crown and anchor. Threw it in the ground and came aboard and said the land belongs to the King, and we're saying the land belongs to the Hapu. And everybody that's in common law equal as native born on the land, and different title to that.
Tika tēnā. How important is co-governance, the co-governance issue to you, Matua?
The co-governance at the moment is still divide and rule. It's not acceptable to anybody under a system of that Crown operating straight to Australia, to the New World Order and World Economic Forum narrative there against what we are doing as a collective of nations in a common law area of sharing the Westminster laws in the first place the right way it should be, under the king, not the queen. The queen corrupted the king's laws that what made the law to get you on the land in the first place. And a straight sovereignty, straight through to us, and not broken. The Queen's one is broken, and they can't string it together.
Right.
Mm.
What then, in regards to that, Matua, what do you want to see in future for all our tangata whenua and our citizens of Aotearoa? In regards to the treaty, in regards to all these different rules, what is your future whakaaro? What
We
do you
go back to the beginning, the source.
Right.
Go back to Westminster, follow the ship backwards,
Yes.
whence it came, the law. Get the law right for everybody in the world, that the Admiralty was made to make money, the Admiralty is money and church. Which church? Can you tell me which one holds the key? Well, you got the Church of England, who I am, Church of England, Bishop Wanoa, and Reverend Wanoa, and also Reverend Bishop Carr from the East Cape, and so that's the Church of England. But the 8-point star on the flag is St. Patrick from Ireland. So Ireland created the War Powers Act in 1689, legislated into the Constitution of Britain, UK, as the War Powers Act to create money for war against France and Germany. And so that's our authority to raise money for economy and people's lives. Then war. They're still doing war over there. In the black line on the flag, the Confederation flag, not the whakaputanga is one, but the Confederation of Chiefs is, Satan is the black line, to keep the pirates on the high sea away from our contract between here and Britain, UK, four-state country. Now it's England, the natives of England and the soil land, to us native of New Zealand, different title, and the same principle of law. Better application. Best law, best information wins. Simple.
Is there any last words, aspirations, visions? Karakia, what do you really want? Bottom line, Matua, what do you want to see for our people in the land?
Everybody equal, no one higher than the other, and we share in everything and have good taumata on a marae, and also natural-born people born on the land is native, and you can have your own hapu in your own surname of you and your tamarikis below it, and they succeed to you and the cooperative, not corporation, but cooperative in this King's Bench Court is everybody's te auna.
I'd like to introduce you today to Whaia Michelle Reti Kaukau. Tēnā koe, Whaia.
Tēnā koe.
Whaia, tell us where you are from and what Waitangi celebrations mean to you today.
Kia ora whai. Ko toko ingoa, ko Michelle Reti Kaukau. No haere au ki pātangata taku whangi, ngari ki te arawa e noho anō e nainei. Ko ngai te whati wāpiti tūturi kia hau. I'm the CPO of, on behalf of HomeGuard Global. HomeGuard Global was set up during World War II, at a time where our livelihood, our security was at risk. As you can see, I have behind me my key personnel on behalf of HomeGuard Global and our Admiral, who we represent, and we represent these two flags here, or actually there's 3 flags.
Tēnā koe, Whaia. How do you feel about this unity movement that the Māori King has started, and why? The kotahitanga movement of the Māori King, and why?
Oh, that's a very contentious issue. As far as I'm concerned, for us, for those of hapu who stand in their own self-determination, in our own tino rangatiratanga, our own mana Māori mutahaki. For us, where we come from, we don't acknowledge kingitanga as our king. We've always remained autonomous, we've always remained independent, like all other hapu. And the reason why we're here is today marks a very special occasion for all of us here, especially for our rangatira who you just interviewed before. And that marks not only just a historical event, but it's putting things back into practice in regards to Aboriginal maritime law and where we stand as a people in kotahitanga.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you, Whaia. What do you make then of all the recent discussions around the Treaty of Waitangi and why?
First of all, we need to acknowledge and recognise He Whakaputanga as our founding documents, which set up that constitution, that contract between ourselves and our partner. Leading up to Te Tiriti o Waitangi, as you know, that is a very contentious issue, especially right across the Motu, ki ngā haue whā. But it's not about acknowledging who we are, but it's holding the Crown to account in regards to our tino rangatiratanga and also Articles 1, 2 and 3 in the preamble.
Yeah. Wow. A lot of people probably don't know what that means. Why? You know, they say certain things and yet they have no idea. Are you able to give a little kōrero on that? Would you mind?
Well, as you may or may not be aware, and those who do not, who are not aware, the Waitangi tribunal process, as you know, which was set up through statute in 1975, was to investigate and inquire into matters concerning breaches and or violations of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. As you know, we already know that is a Crown construct for us to divide our hapu and to place another whare over the top of our hapu, which we are the authority. And we already know that the Crown does not recognise hapu, never have and never will. And we do not recognise iwi, and neither do we recognise runanga as we see them, in our view, as a Crown construct or legal fictitious entity.
Tika tēnā. Should our laws then, Whaia, be universal for everyone or based on race?
Oh, in my opinion, it's not my opinion, but what it should be.
Okay.
Our laws should be based on universal.
Yeah.
That should include everyone, not just ourselves. But at the end of the day, these flags here represent Admiralty maritime law at the sea. As far as we're concerned, the government's in other words.
I'd like to introduce you today to Grace Harimate. Tēnā koe.
Kia ora.
Tell us where you're from, Grace, and what Waitangi celebrations means to you and why.
I basically grew up in Auckland. I actually didn't grow up with most of my family, but my mum is originally from Ngāti Whātua, and Karetu Marae. I originally don't actually know where my real father actually comes from, but my father lives in Invercargill. My father that I was born under. Amazing father. His dad was a pōtero for Rātana. I've learnt heaps for the last 4 years.
How do you feel
just
about the Waitangi celebrations today?
There's a lot of emotions because the first time I came here was 4 years ago, the 28th of October for celebrations like these. We came for a whole different reason. We came for the children and for the rest of the people. I cried the day that they were doing the treaty because it was, for me, everyone was just talking about money. And I cried because I came here to bring something back for our younger generation, because I've watched them suffer for so long. I spent 10 years of my life in hospitals, 6 in mental health. I've observed what our kids go through. Two in a coma in Auckland Hospital and 2 in rehabilitation. I was told I would never walk again. Our kids today are getting drugged up, medicated, to the point they're turning to zombies. This is another lost generation if we don't do anything now. A lot of our kids are in SIFs, getting raped. I've got one friend that got raped in SIFs. It was the mother's son. She went to court and they won the case. They didn't. The mother won the case, not the girl. She ended up in mental health with all these mental health problems. Till this day, 10 years later, she's still taking medication because she believes the medication helps her. But she's come off heaps of those medications. I've been to funerals for children my age at that time. I've watched kids go into seclusions. I've watched kids get pinned down by 8 people, eight nurses just to put an injection in them just because they're not taking their medication. Our kids ain't sick. They're feeling what our last generations feel. They're feeling all our ancestors coming through them because nobody else is standing up to the plate. Nobody else is rising. So our kids have to suffer and feel it all. So when even schools, I'll say it like this. So there's 30 kids in the classroom, 1 teacher. They don't get the attention they need. Schools only teach one way. The rest of the everyone learns different ways. So only 3 kids and out of those 30 kids get A's and B's at the end. The rest think they failed. So they think they're a failure. They end up on wins thinking they're failures. But they're not. We don't want to spend all our years going to school, then going to uni, then spending the rest of our life paying off a career that we just spent doing all the mahi already. Hospitals, how they work is you'll come with one symptom, right? They'll give you a diagnosis. Now you've got 5 diagnoses you're looking up. Now you're manifesting all those diagnoses for yourself. They're actually creating sicknesses in our children. Misdiagnosed. I was misdiagnosed with bipolar. How many more misdiagnoses are there through all our children? Even outside New Zealand, I've done a essay on hospital kidnapping. You wouldn't believe how much hospital kidnaps happen in this world. One girl in America, 13 years old, her mum tried to take her out of the mental health. They had tanks outside her house when they hid her inside the house. They took her out. They actually won a case with a very high judge in America. But I'll just say a little bit about me. So when I was 13, that's when I ended up under the Mental Health Act, and they took custody of my mother through SIFs and through heaps of other companies. So basically, I was under the Mental Health Act, signing my own papers for those 6 years, not even knowing what was happening. But I was observant to what was happening to our children.
So you're really passionate about that, Grace?
Yes, I am, because I believe, I want to create a space for them where there is more opportunities instead of locking them up in a prison. It's a prison. We're supposed to be helping our mental health, and I believe that hapu should have had something in place instead of giving it over to hospitals. Right. It wasn't their place to take the children into these spaces. Well, sorry.
No, that's okay. No,
they should have had a space for our Moiwi children.
Yes.
Not call them mental and label them. Then the whole family turns against them. Because now other people are calling this child mental, calling them bipolar or schizophrenia.
Yes. So in regards to all these discussions of the Treaty of Waitangi, especially to our rangatahi, how do you feel about all that?
I felt angry standing in there talking about mokopuna when 100 of their own mokopuna are sitting in mental health places, sitting in SIFs. They're mamai because of the passed downs of the traumas that get passed down, because nobody wants to rise up. No more children has to get this way again.
When it comes to our future then, Grace, no, kei te pai, because this is really important for our rangatahi. We've had at least 3, now 4 generations of the same thing. So I love your kōrero. I'm just going to bypass some of these questions because they're not appropriate for you, because your kōrero is very important. But what I want to ask is for our mokopuna, the future for our mokopuna. What do you want to see? What do you want to see for them? No matter what. So you don't have to feel that. Your mokopuna don't have to go through what you've obviously been through, Grace. What do you want to see in regard to the treaty law, all our laws here in the land? What do you want to see more than anything?
Well, at Waitangi, I want to see a place where the children can talk for themselves,
Right.
and our elders actually listen to our children instead of us listening to the taumata all the time.
Right.
And respect our elders, but let's respect all, because our children aren't getting respected at the moment.
Right.
Their say isn't respected.
Do you think they're not listened to?
Well, they're giving up. Our children are giving up,
Right.
and if they give up, commit suicide.
Yeah.
How many more suicides do we have to go till we have none of them left? They're our next generation.
Yeah.
They're our next leaders. They are our leaders. They are our leaders.
So when it comes to the Kingitana movement and our leaders and everything that are in a position of authority to help the young ones, what do you want them to do for our mokopuna? Any last words, Grace? Because it's really important what you're saying. Really important what you're saying.
I think, like, when we're dealing with kids moiwi, work with the whole family.
Yes.
Instead of taking the kids away from the family. It's actually the parents that we need to work with, because they're moiwi.
Yes.
It's the children that are picking it up.
Yes. Yes.
Like, and also, with our parents are working. It shouldn't be two parents working, or when kids come. Parents are working all day long.
Yeah.
Kids come home from school. The parents are tired. So the kids don't even get their parents. On the weekends, they're tired. The kids don't get their parents. So what do? Give them a television. Give them a phone. Shut up, kids.
Yeah.
We need more family time.
I know this is the new question, but in regard to the government and what they've done to all children of New Zealand, what do you want to say to them? What do they need to change and buck up about? I'll let you say.
The system is broken already.
Yes.
There's nothing to change. It needs to go.
It needs to go.
It needs to go.
Yeah.
Just like to finish it off with the waiata.
I have Carla White with me today. Tēnā koe whaia.
Kia ora.
Whaia, tell us where you're from and what Waitangi celebrations means to you and why.
Yep, I'm actually Hokainga here, so I'm from Waitangi. And Waitangi celebrations is very important to us as Hokainga. So we have been preparing for quite a few weeks as kaitiaki of the documents Te Tiriti of Waitangi and He Wakaputanga.
And how do you feel about these big celebrations this time round?
Well, it's really a time of change. This place in particular is Te Tau Rangatira.
Right.
So Te Tau Rangatira means the seating place of the rangatira, and this is where they came. And they sat here and they deliberated before they went over the bridge to sign He Wakaputanga at Me Te Tiriti o Waitangi.
Right.
So this is a very significant place pertaining the structure of Māoridom and where we go forward from here.
Right. How do you feel about this unity movement that the Māori King has started and why, Whaia?
Well, for us here in Waitangi, pertaining the rangatira of the document He Wakaputanga, we've opened up to Tau Rangatira. They know about coming here so that they can deliberate these discussions.
Right.
Currently, what they've been focusing on is the service that the Waitangi National Trust is providing, pertaining its people, the implementation of the government procedures that are happening over there, and they're not coming here to the original place where the decisions were actually made by those rangatira. So we've had a lot of discussions that have happened in this marquee here from rangatira who have come ngā hau e whā. It appears that one of the concerns that they have is that the corporate agendas and the relationship the government have with their own corporate agendas that are put up for Māori have not been consulted by the rangatira who have ancestral inhabitant rights.
Wow.
So there's been a lot of discussion, and there's been a lot of different hapu who brought their concerns to us here at Te Tau Rangatira, and they have been deliberating on how they're going to deal with the matters pertaining a violation of tikanga that's happening over the bridge at the Waitangi National Trust.
Wow. So in regards to all these discussions surrounding the Treaty of Waitangi, how do you feel about all this, especially if they haven't come down here?
The kingitanga did not come down to Tau Rangatira. Their rangatira actually did sign the He Wakapūtanga. And so we were surprised that they didn't stop and acknowledge the ancestral signing ground before going up to the corporate side of the Waitangi National Trust. So it's been brought to our attention that perhaps they have lost their way, or that they're confused pertaining the tikanga of their ancestors.
How do you feel about that as Haukainga, Whaia?
Well, it's a very big decision for us here as Haukainga, because we have mana whenua over the Waitangi National Trust. So what we're looking, which is a service provider for the corporation Her Majesty the Queen and Right of New Zealand, being facilitated in Wellington. So we have to talk to our rangatira and make some really serious decisions about whether we're going to allow the continued function of the Waitangi National Trust, or whether we're going to bring it back to the tikanga which started here at Te Tau Rangatira. So we've had some really interesting kōrero. We've had an alliance come in with the Chinese who have whakapapa into the Hokianga, and that alliance has become stronger. So what we've actually had to consider are the services that the corporation in Wellington have been putting out, and whether those services are violating the tikanga of our people.
Of course.
So one of the issues that we have actually dealt with in a judicial manner, which is the Native Aboriginal International Native Aboriginal Court, is the disqualification of coroners that violate our tikanga, and the case that was dealt with in 6th of February 2024 was the Sean Wainui case, which has disqualified Luella Dunn as the coroner for violation and breach of tikanga. So that was a really big deal. So now what we have to consider is, in transition, that the services need to be made more customarily responsible, pertaining the responsibilities to He Wakapūtanga, the Declaration of Independence, me te tiriti o Waitangi. So lots of things happening here on the ancestral grounds, and we're sure that things can actually be worked out. We're sure that perhaps they just don't have the accurate knowledge that's been passed down through their whakapapa by their ancestors. So we're all about helping our people so that they'll need to actually go back to the future, back to the past to come forward to the future. But we're wanting to kotahitanga everybody, all of the hapu and the people of all nations. We're looking at kotahitanga as the inspiration for Waitangi 2024.
Wow.
We also have another celebration, which is the 28th of October, which is He Waka Pūtanga.
Right.
That will be more than likely from the 26th to the 28th of October. And as a media, we'd personally like to invite you to come so that you can be on the ground and hear the kōrero of the rangatira who have come together in an update of the decisions they've made pertaining the service of the Waitangi National Trust.
Wow, thank you, Whai. That is such a privilege, and we will be here.
I'm actually really honoured that you've taken the time to let us speak. We've got John Wano from the King's Bench, we've got Ngāti Rea here and Hauraki over here, we've got the incorporations which you can't quite see from here, and we're all working on strategy to be able to create kotahitanga, and if there's confusions pertaining their roles and their responsibilities to He Waka Pūtanga, then we need to make it clear what we expect of them.
Amazing, amazing.
We're
Thank you
hoping
so
that
much.
Tainui, the King, does not drive past his ancestors' resting place again.
Yes, amen. Should our laws then, Whai, be universal for everyone or based on race?
Well, 2017, the Chief Justice Shana Elias came into the whare, tūpuna here, and she was asked a very important question. Does New Zealand Parliament assume its sovereignty by means of a constitution unwritten? The response from Shana Elias in 2017 on the 4th of February was that the New Zealand Parliament assumes sovereignty. Therefore, she confirms also there is no constitution in place that qualifies the laws that they are making.
Right.
So that is why there's a push, an urgent push, and many books that are saying that New Zealand's constitution is bridled because it doesn't exist. So I'm suspecting that the company put in place to take care of the settlers and immigrants is very worried at this time.
Wow. I bet. How important then, Whai, is the co-governance issue to you?
The co-governance issue doesn't actually exist because the trouble is that people are confused pertaining the true identity of the Crown and the Crown. The Crown pertaining the He Waka Pūtanga was the Crown City of London. The Crown pertaining Te Tiriti of Waitangi 1840 was the Crown Queen Victoria, but the Crown operating and creating confusion today is a corporation registered on the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United Nations in New York. Wow. So we need to be sure that when we're addressing matters pertaining the Crown and its co-governance, that they're clear on which Crown they're talking about.
Of course. Oh gosh. So what do you want to see in regards to all tangata whenua, all our citizens of Aotearoa, our future in regards to the treaty, He Waka Pūtanga, everything, Whai? What do you want to see?
The most important thing is that those decisions have got to be made on this whenua. Right. And the reason it's got to be made on this whenua is because the people coming into this country had to come by means of this whenua when He Waka Pūtanga was created, Me Te Tiriti of Waitangi was then signed, and that if they have strayed away from those obligations, then they need to come back, and from there the rangatira need to instruct a way to move forward for kotahitanga. And kotahitanga of all the nations. Yes. So the nations are looking at Waitangi. We're one of the few that actually have an international treaty. Yes. There hasn't been a instrument that has handed our authority from the Declaration of Independence as an independent nation to a corporate crown in Wellington.
Right, wow. Any last words, visions, aspirations for our rangatahi, for our people, all our land and people, Whai?
Absolutely. The rangatahi are getting more and more aware. As the generations come through, there's different styles, and so we have from perhaps kaumātua that were more rangamārie. The young people are becoming more informed about wanting kotahitanga, but of course wanting to know how it all came about, how he wakaputanga came about, how te tiriti came about, and what qualified the New Zealand government to exist on our lands.
Will you say a karakia for us to finish?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So the karakia I'd like to share with you is with these. I just feel that the Wairua is here at the moment with our ancestors. Their mukapuna are all here, and there's a beautiful resonance, there's a great vibration on the land, and I feel that Papatūnuku is hearing its people, and so the matriarchs must stand up for the children now. It's their role. The matriarch's role is to take care of matters pertaining Papatūnuku. The paternal role is to take care of their relationship with Ranganui.
Thank you. Thank you and thank you. Tēnā koe matua.
Ai, tēnā koe.
Matua, please tell us where you are from and what Waitangi celebration means to you and why.
Ai, no tonga pōrutu, no mōkau ahau, tōku iwi ko Paitama, ko tōku hapu ko Ngāti Wai, ko te kauau te marae, ko tioro taku tupuna, ko te kauau taku pāpa, koina.
Tēnā koe. What do Waitangi celebrations mean to you, Matua, and why?
I've seen a few, and to me it was always about sort of appeasing the crown to show that we're good people, like we're good citizens.
Yeah.
Look at us, we've adapted very well.
Yeah.
But this year, and I haven't been for quite a few years because I got a bit disappointed and that was why. But this year had a different modi to it.
Right.
And brought about by the coalition government that's just been put into power. It had in my opinion, a reverse effect where it brought the people together.
Yes.
And boy, how it did. Yeah. So to me, it's now an opportunity for hapu, whānau and hapu to go away and think about what they can do for themselves.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
That's my deep whakaaro. That's what we've been living for 50, 60 years, Yeah.
Tēnā koe matua. How do you feel then about this kotahitanga unity movement that the Māori King has started and why?
He whakaaro pai tērā. It's a very good thought. Very difficult to implement in reality.
Aye.
So why not look after yourself, individualise and look after you and your hapu, and then you move out to embrace someone else, might be another part of your hapu, and build it that way. Not, I don't believe it's right and they, come on, we'll have a hui and we're all going to be one. Won't happen.
Yeah.
It might last for a short time, but somebody will get hoha and there's always this thought that there should be a supreme body.
Right.
And Māori don't like supreme bodies. That's the truth. They haven't learned.
Aye.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm my own man and that's what I'm going to be.
That's right.
We will not give in to crown constructs.
Aye.
And is the king just reproducing that? Is that what he's doing? I went to Ngāruawāhia and I listened to his kōrero and I thought he was pretty good, you know. He said, look, just be yourselves, that's it. Halfway there.
Yeah.
And then they come out with this. It might be just a whakaaro, you know, that's the end result. Yeah. But I think he was right first time by saying go home and be yourselves. Yeah, I like that.
You like that one?
I like that.
Good. Tēnā koe matua. So what then do you make of all the recent discussions surrounding the Treaty of Waitangi and why? Lots of...
the terms of the government all of a sudden translating. I don't know what the word I should use.
Yeah.
But that's what they're doing. They're retranslating this thing and they're not even experts in development. you know, you get a Pākehā like so what's his name, David Seymour. You know, this is what it is. Hey, oh, bro, you don't understand Māori. You want to retranslate for us. And then you've got Winston who doesn't want to have anything to do with these Māori. Yes. Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
So do I. Well then, should then our laws, matua, be universal for everybody or based on race?
Yeah, that's a dirty way of putting it. To put something, because they're Māori, we've got to give them something special. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. What you have to give us is what you owe us. You know, what we're entitled to. That's what you've got to do. You've got to make sure that we get our full entitlement.
Yes.
Because you white people have had that.
Yes.
You've had your entitlement.
Yes.
You know, I'm still farming with difficulty. Families gradually coming back, and that's what I have to teach them.
Right.
The kaitiakitanga. And what that means, it doesn't mean that you have to mortgage your place up.
Right.
You know, you got to make do with the resources that we have. And that's true kaitiakitanga. Anybody can go and throw a whole heap of money at something and borrow, and next minute your land's gone.
That's right.
So that's my whakaaro. The treaty and the whakaputanga, to me they were merely stamps.
Right.
You know, yes, we agree that you are tangata whenua, you are entitled to your land, seas and rivers.
Yeah.
You are giving us the right to govern. I'm not sure that we gave them the right to govern us all,
right.
But that's what's happened.
Yes.
And 184 years later, they haven't done very well at governing, you know. So, yeah, the treaty, in my opinion, is a very simple document. Mm-hmm. Our old people who signed here, I'll put that up there, they weren't ignorant.
No.
They were not ignorant people.
No.
They understood what could happen.
Yes.
They saw the writing on the wall. But the English, and I'll say the English, they'd been doing this sort of thing right around the world, so all they had to do was repeat it here.
Yep.
And that's what we've got today.
That's what we've got. Yeah. Well, in regards to that, then how important is the co-governance issue to you, matua?
Oh, yeah. Co-governance. Isn't that some sort of look, I was against, and I still am, against the co-governance model that came out prior to the election.
Right.
Very much against it.
Right.
Why? Because the Crown was only going to recognise the PSGs. The Crown runanga constructs.
Right.
They weren't going to recognise ordinary people,
Yeah.
so we were going to be nobodies.
Right.
We don't have a settlement. If you don't have a settlement, you're not entitled to participate in co-governance. To me, that was rubbish.
Yes. Yes.
I agree with the concept of co-governance, but be fair about it.
Yes.
And I voiced that in many forums. Wasn't exactly loved for it, but
Well, what do you want to see, Matua, after all the years that you've been putting in your mātauranga and mahi? What do you want to see in our future in regards to all our tangata whenua, all our citizens of Aotearoa, in regards to te tiriti, he wakaputanga, everything, Matua? What do you want to die a happy man knowing it's sussed out, you know?
well, the first thing I want is for the government, the Crown, the government, whatever you want to call them, to stop abusing its indigenous people.
Yes, amen.
That's what I want to see as being number one.
Aye.
Number two, pay your bills.
Yeah.
I got to pay my bills.
Yeah.
They got bills, they need to pay them. And then we move forward. I think there are a lot of issues, like, people are right, you know, we've got housing, we've got homelessness, we've got health problems, we've got prison problems, and we know we can't fix them all.
Yeah.
But who the hell created it?
That's right.
Wasn't us. They throw it at us though. Oh, you're top of the pops in prison. Well, who took away our jobs?
Any last words, any karakia, anything that you'd like to say for all our land and people, Matua, in closing?
I think this whakatauki, the simple one.
Yeah.
Kia mauta whenua, kia mauta mana. Hold on to your land and you will hold on to your mana.
I love that. Tēnā koe.
Kia ora.
Pai mārere.
Pai mārere.
Thank you.